Let's talk today about babies who will only sleep while being held. Hey there, I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I'm a sleep consultant and the founder of the Helping Babies Sleep Method. And today we're going to talk about kiddos of varying ages who will only sleep while being held. Because the reason for this depends on your child's age. So let's talk for a moment about newborn sleep. So when we're talking about newborn, it's generally less than 3 months. Okay. Newborns who will only sleep while being held, like especially if it's for all sleep, the reason is they are incredibly uncomfortable. Usually these kids have reflux or some sort of GI issue that's making them incredibly uncomfortable, and they're seeking the comfort of and the warmth of and the soothing of being on a parent. So reflux is basically adult heartburn. What's happening is that the sphincter that joins their esophagus and their stomach is very loose, and it allows the acids from their stomach to splash back up and burn in their esophagus. So you can imagine lying them down on their back would aggravate that condition. And so they seek the comfort of being on people, but also when you're on someone, you're usually in a more upright position, which helps minimize the effects of that reflux. So as soon as I have a kiddo that comes to me who is, in that newborn stage of less than 3 months and they only want to sleep on people, I'm immediately trying to screen out for the signs of reflux or GI issues. So GI issues might be that they have some sort of an allergy, soy or dairy that makes them incredibly uncomfortable. And these kids often present with, colic. They're very uncomfortable as well, and they want to sleep on people because they seek comfort. After a certain age, what happens with these kiddos? So one, they may have reflux or something that makes them uncomfortable in the newborn stage that has them seek comfort by being on you. But then what happens is that sleep is actually a learned skill. I know we don't think about it that way. We think sleep should be this beautiful, natural, instinctual thing. And the drive to sleep is natural and instinctual, but the way we sleep is actually a learned habit. And we actually imprint what sleep looks like somewhere between like the 4 and 10 week age. So if your kiddo was uncomfortable and they needed to sleep on you, well, that's what they think sleep looks like. And that's the habit that they have. And that's how they want to fall asleep. And that's how they expect to fall asleep, because there is some expectation, learned behaviors in there. Let's say that happened to you and now your kiddo is like 6 months and they will only sleep while being held. Now this is usually a habit. So especially with reflux, that discomfort decreases significantly around 4 months. And often you go to your pediatrician, you're like, oh my gosh, like we just can't go on, like looks like something's wrong. And you might get some medication to help you with the pain from reflux. But they'll still want to sleep on you because that's how they associate falling asleep. That's what sleep looks like to them. So I frequently work with parents who might have a 6-month-old, 7-month-old, 8-month-old whose kiddo will only sleep in arms because they had reflux or something that bothered their little newborn in the newborn stage. Preference and discomfort. There's two things. Now, it could be that in the newborn stage, your child didn't have any of those things, but you just enjoyed the process so much that you wanted to let them sleep on you and you just encouraged that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's lots of ways to raise your kiddos. It's just that now if you are finding that unsustainable, it might be time to pivot, right? And that's what we teach in the Helping Newborn Sleep class. What are our goals? Our goals are, one, to keep your baby well rested, because the more well rested your baby is, the easier it will be to get them to fall asleep and then stay asleep. Then the second goal is to use methods that you can maintain. So while sleeping on you might feel fantastic and really good and so important at the beginning, right, for your milk supply and whatnot, it can be hard to maintain. So we try and teach you other methods to help you get your baby to sleep that you can maintain long term, especially after that 4-month mark. There is a significant sleep regression at 4 months that's related to object permanence. So your child wakes up to the world and they go through this object permanence leap where they realize that you exist even though they can't see you, and they tend to wake up more often. Now let's talk about older kiddos. Let's talk about 1-year-olds that need to be rocked to sleep or fall asleep on people. But then what happens? For a lot of people, you try and transfer them into the crib and they wake up as soon as they hit that mattress. And that's because they're in a light sleep stage and their caveman brain senses that you're putting them down and they wake up immediately. What you want to know is, how do I fix this, right? And unfortunately, that is a much more involved question, because it's essentially, the answer is, how do I break the habit that my child has of associating being on me with falling asleep so that they can learn independent sleep skills? Because sleep is a learned habit. Think about yourselves. You find your favorite position at night. you relax your brain and you relax into sleep. But if I said to you tonight, you can't sleep in your favorite position and I'm going to take away your pillow, that would be very uncomfortable for you and you would toss and turn, but eventually you would teach yourself a new way of falling asleep. And that's what our kiddos, if you want to have great sleep, need to pass through to be able to be independent sleepers and be able to be put down completely awake, because yes, that is possible, completely awake, and they will put themselves to sleep. That's after 4 months or older. If you have more sleep questions, we have a very simple 6-question sleep quiz that can help you figure out why this is happening to you. And one simple no-tier thing that you can do tonight, it's helping babies sleep /sleep-quiz. The link will be in the comments below.